Good afternoon, Fin fans, and welcome back to another episode of AT Fins News. In this episode, we're going to be previewing the Miami Dolphins versus the Houston Texans coming up this Sunday. But before we get into that, I just want to let you guys know I've been gone for a few weeks now. As you can see, I'm not posting videos regularly. I was having some computer issues. I thought I got resolved, but we just kept having issue after issue. I finally got it fixed, so you'll be seeing more regular content from me going forward. We're going to try to be doing two videos a week. One will be like a preview show like we're doing now, and then another one will be a reaction to the game from the past Sunday or Thursday or Monday, whenever we're playing. But other than that, guys, I really appreciate you sticking with me through these last few weeks where I haven't had my computer issues resolved. But hopefully we won't have no more issues moving forward, and we're ready to rock and roll. But looking at this matchup for this Sunday, I mean, just looking at our two rosters, the Texans and the Dolphins, I mean, we have so much more elite talent on all three phases of the ball, really. But on our offense, I mean, no one on their defense can match up with Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle. They're gonna have a tough time covering them the entire game, to be honest. But one huge strength that we have over the Houston Texans is the Houston Texans currently rank number 30th in in rush defense. So I feel like this is going to be a big Jeff Wilson game. I know Raheem Mostert, if you guys been following the injury report, he's missed the last two practices, so he's kind of questionable for the game this Sunday. But even without Raheem Mostert, would love to have him. But I still see Jeff Wilson having a field day this game. I think our offense in its entirety is we're gonna be able to do whatever we want on the offensive side of the ball. What I'm really looking forward to seeing, though, is our defense keep up that pace that they had against the Cleveland Browns. That was probably our best all around game as a team this entire year. Besides our special teams, of course, because Jason Sanders missed extra points. He's missed a field goal. He's really having a down year. And it's getting kind of concerning for me. I'm sure it's getting concerning for the majority of Dolphin fans out there, because when it comes down to the late games in December, January, even in the playoffs, the games are going to get tighter, and it could come down to a field goal. And right now, I'm not confident in saying that if Jason Sanders needs to hit a 49-yard field goal to win the game, that I'm confident that he's going to make that. I mean, he's missed 28-yarders this year. Give me extra points. So he needs to figure it out. I don't know if the Miami Dolphins are thinking about maybe bringing in some competition for him in the coming weeks if he keeps struggling. Hopefully not. Hopefully he can, just figure it out. Maybe on his bye week, trying to relax and get away from football. Maybe a lot of the times with these players, they have the talent. They get in their own way. They get in their head, and it becomes psychological, not talent wise. So hopefully he got that resolved, because we're going to need him to come up big in the future. But looking at this game, I mean, one of the main keys to victory, obviously, with the Texans, the really only offensive weapon they have that's sustained the entire year is Dameon Pierce. He's a rookie running back. He has about, I believe, 780 yards, 3 or 4 touchdowns. He's the bright spot on that entire offense. So if our defense, which I know they've been playing great at home, they're struggling on the road, but their home stats are phenomenal. I feel like they're going to key on Dameon Pierce. They're going to make the Houston Texans one-dimensional. And if the Miami Dolphins defense is able to do that, then I don't see any problem in this game, to be honest with you guys. I mean, we're going in as 14-point favorites. That's kind of worrisome, because we're just not used to, as Dolphin fans, seeing our team favored by so many points. But, I mean, we're finally getting the respect we deserve. I mean, we've been blowing out teams for... the Browns game, we blew them out. In the other games, we're just putting up so many points. And, throughout the year, the Texans, they're 1-8, 1-8-1. Their offense has been non-existent besides Dameon Pierce. And now they just benched their starting quarterback, Davis Mills. So another key to victory for the Miami Dolphins to coming away with this win is our defense is going to have to make Kyle Allen as their backup that's starting this Sunday. uncomfortable. I mean, he's not the starter for a reason. Davis Mills must have outplayed him in camp. Davis Mills actually had a pretty good rookie year last year, but he's been really struggling this year. That's why they're bringing in Kyle Allen. But Kyle Allen shouldn't scare our defense at all, especially with the quarterbacks we've seen so far this season. So, I mean, just make him uncomfortable, man. Make him feel that pressure. I'm looking for Bradley Chubb to have a big game this week. I'm looking for Jalen Phillips to keep that same energy that he's been for the last 4 weeks now. He's really picking up, and he's not getting the sack numbers you want, but you see all the pressures he's putting on a quarterback, and he's at a half second late. But that pressure is still affecting these quarterbacks. If you see the last 3 quarterbacks we faced, and Jalen Phillips was so close to getting 4.5 sacks. He only got 1.5 during that time span, but just the fact that he's putting that continued pressure, and now with the Bradley Chubb on the other side, they're both going to be just meeting at the quarterback. That's what we hope, at least. And I expect to see a lot of pressures coming off from the edges this week, and just collapsing that pocket with Christian Wilkins, Raekwon Davis. Our interior line, I mean, it's one of the strengths of our team, to be honest, with the addition of Bradley Chubb. I know we lost Emmanuel Ogbah, and now that's a big loss just as a depth piece. But to be honest, guys, he wasn't really having the year that we expected after we signed him to that extension. So it just means Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips are going to see more snaps, which is probably beneficial for this defense in the long run. So I'm looking for our pass rush to have a big game, 4 or 5 sacks I'm going with. Their line's all right. I mean, they're nothing special. They have Laramie Tunsil, the ex-Dolphin, that we got a haul for. You got to love Laramie Tunsil. He's a GOAT. But other than that, they really don't have a solid line. So I expect our defensive line to expose them, put constant pressure on Kyle Allen, make him feel uncomfortable, because we know they're going to stop that run game just so they can make him one-dimensional. And if Kyle Allen can beat the Miami Dolphins defense, you got to tip your cap to him and say, we had the perfect game plan, he just outplayed us. But, I mean, I just don't see that happening. Even if the Houston Texans, because they came out late and saying they're benching Davis Mills, even if they put up some points, I just don't see how our offense is not going to be able to outscore the Houston Texans offense with our defense. Their defense is ranked at the bottom of all rankings in defense. So that's why I said Tua is going to be able to do whatever he wants. I feel like Jeff Wilson Jr., that's going to be a big game for him, big day. He'll probably have around 20, 25 carries if Raheem Mostert isn't able to play since he's missed the last 2 practices. But if we have both of those running backs, it looks like a heavy workload for them kind of a day. I still think Tua's going to get his yards. He's going to be able to hit his playmakers, Waddle and Tyreek doing crossing routes about 20 yards downfield. Their DBs are not going to be able to keep up with both of them. And maybe a couple seam shots with Mike Gesicki. He's been kind of getting more involved as the season goes on. Looking to see him more effective in the red zone. He's had a couple big games, I know, but just more consistency from him. But that could be due to play design. You know, Mike McDaniel wasn't really using him at the beginning of the year. But, yeah, his production's picking up, and hopefully it continues this Sunday. Tua, as far as his yards this Sunday, even though I feel it's going to be a heavy run day, I still think Tua's going to put up 280, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Keep that trend going with 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, we got to give it up to this kid. He's been under so much scrutiny the last 2 years. Me being one of them, I mean, at first I felt like he couldn't get us over that hump and get into the playoffs and make a run, but he's been excellent this year, guys, and you got to give credit where credit's due. He's turning that corner into becoming our franchise quarterback. The only thing now for him, honestly, to solidify himself as a franchise quarterback is just to stay healthy, really, guys. I mean, what else could you ask for him so far this season? He's up there in the MVP race. He's not leading the pack. That's Mahomes. It's really Mahomes' MVP to lose, but he's still right up there. So if Mahomes has a slip up and Tua continues his high level play, he can leapfrog Mahomes and become the MVP. But it's all going to come down to availability at the end of the day. I mean, he's been injured a lot, guys. I know he's taking care of himself ever since he's been back from the concussion. You see him getting the ball out of his hands faster, not taking the big hits, throwing the ball away, and living to fight another down, which is great to see because I really just didn't think he had it in him ever since he was in Alabama. That was Nick Saban's biggest knock on Tua. He always is looking for that big play or looking for a play to be made, and he holds on to the ball too long. He needs to get rid of it and live for another down. And it seems like he has that stuck in his head. Mike McDaniel must be hammering it down that in order for this team to be successful this year, everyone on this team realizes Tua has to stay completely healthy for the rest of the year in order to make it where we want to go as a fan base and as the Dolphins organization. Because honestly, guys, I mean, I've been watching the Dolphins for about 25 years now, and I can say with confidence this is probably the best team, the best roster that the Miami Dolphins have ever had. They're sitting right now at 7-3. They're in second place in the AFC East just because the Bills won yesterday on Thursday on Thanksgiving. So they're ahead of us right now, but as soon as we take care of business against the Texans, we'll leapfrog them again because of the tiebreaker we had early in the year. So I just feel like we're going to continue that trend. We're going to go on a 5-game winning streak, and then the real test starts with the 6-game gauntlet starting with the West Coast road trip, the 49ers and the Chargers. And then we got the Bills and then our AFCs, the Jets, the Patriots, and then the Packers are in the middle of that on Christmas Day. So after this Texans game, which I love that we play the Texans to start getting the ball rolling again after our bye week, because we left the bye week so hot, playing our best game of the year, and then we come out of the bye and get to play the Texans, kind of get ready for that 6-game gauntlet, right? Get everyone back in rhythm, back in the zone. Tua, I'm sure he's been, like he said, chopping that wood on his mic'd ups with Mike McDaniel. I'm sure he's just keeping practicing, getting ready to go because he knows how big a year this is for him and how good he's been so far. And out of watching that mic'd up, guys, you can just tell his commitment to this team and to his craft. He wants to be one of the best quarterbacks in this league, and I love to see that as a fan of this team. I mean, just he knows he's taking accountability for his mistakes, and he just wants to get better each and every day. And that's really all you can ask for from a professional athlete. There's some athletes that, just think they can just show up and not work hard and they're still going to be great. And that's not how the NFL works, because everyone's great in this league. It just depends on how hard you want to put it on or how much time you want to put in to your craft and how close to perfection you want to get, because no one's perfect, but you can get damn near close. And that's what it seems like Tua's trying to do this year, and you got to respect that. So hopefully he can stay healthy. But, I mean, as far as this game, guys, I know we haven't really talked too much about it, just about our defense making Allen uncomfortable, stopping Pierce, our offense being able to run the ball against one of the worst defensive rushing defenses in the league, and just their passing defense isn't too much better. So, I mean, that's pretty much my preview of the game. But it all starts the following Sunday. I know we're not supposed to look ahead on any game, any given Sunday, right? But if the Dolphins don't underestimate their opponent, which I don't think they will, because Mike McDaniel will have these guys ready to go. He's not going to take this game for granted, because he's seen in the past, we've seen as Dolphin fans in the past, that look at last year with the Jacksonville Jaguars or the Atlanta Falcons. We thought those were easy W's. We end up losing those games, and we only missed the playoffs by one game. So every game's important, especially in the AFC, right? Not only the AFC East, but the whole AFC in total. There's a lot of teams that are 7-3 right now. We need to separate from that pack to not be in tiebreakers at the end of the year. So we're going to have to keep this winning train going. I expect us to do so. I mean, I'm predicting the Miami Dolphins win 31-13 against the Texans. The Texans might put up a touchdown early, maybe one at the end of the fourth quarter, or 2 field goals. But I think it's going to be a pretty easy victory for us. But, I mean, like I said, we can't take them for granted. They just got to go out there and do what they've been doing, and we should come out with an easy victory. What I would like to see, though, in this game is Jason Sanders maybe make a couple big field goals, maybe a couple long field goals, get his confidence back. Because like I said earlier in the show, without him or without a consistent kicking game later in the year, it could come back and bite us. And I would hate to see this team lose a game that we should have won based on a missed field goal, because our kicker's been struggling all year. I mean, if he continues to do so, I fully expect Mike McDaniel and this staff to go out and at least give him competition to feel like, oh, if I don't turn this around, I'm going to be cut or I'm going to get replaced as the kicker. So that's what I really want to see from this game. I like I said, I expect Jeff Wilson to have a huge game. I expect Tyreek and Jalen Waddle to do what they're doing. I would expect them to both have somewhere close to 100 yards. One of them with a touchdown. But like I said, guys, we're going to start doing more regular content moving forward. I'm shooting for Mondays and Fridays tentatively, but it could change. But we're definitely going to be having 2 videos a week to you guys, just going over reactions from the game and then a preview show like we're doing right now. But other than that, guys, I appreciate each and every one of y'all for sticking with me after like a 3-week hiatus or MIA. And if you're new to the channel, you just see this is your first time seeing the video, if you can please hit that subscribe button so we can build this thing organically like we have been. I mean, you guys have showed me love, and I appreciate each and every one of y'all. And like always, guys, fins up. I'm out. Peace.